Is everyone ready to go? Well, good evening, councillors, members of the public, staff. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 22nd of May 2025. First order of business is the declaration for the live stream, so I'll read that out. The Shire of Murray Ordinary Council meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Shire's website in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Members of the public attending this meeting consent to the possibility that their image and voice may be captured on the recording and live streaming. Statements or decisions made at this meeting should not be relied or acted on by an applicant or any other person until they have received written notification from the Shire of Murray. Very good. So obviously we've got our attendance here. Some apologies. We have Mr Alan Smith, Director of Infrastructure Services, who is on leave, and stepping in for him we have Mr Martin Harrop. And Tracy Unsworth and Rod Peake are both away unwell. So we have Greg Delahunty acting on behalf of Rod, and nobody is acting on behalf of Tracy tonight. So we'll move on to leaves of absence. I don't believe we have any. Is anyone wishing to apply for leave of absence? No? Sorry? Oh. Response to previous public questions taken on notice, I believe there are nil. Public question time. We have got some written questions that have been submitted. Are we likely to have any questions from the floor? We will have one. Do we do the written first or the verbal first?
Oh, the written ones came in first.
Okay, so if you're happy, sir, we'll do the written ones as they came in first. I'll read them out. These are from Mr Robert Cashman from South Yundrup. And question one is the Snap Send Solve app actively promoted, encouraged or required to be used by Shire of Murray staff, particularly mobile outdoor crews such as parks and garden staff or those working in road maintenance and public spaces? The answer is Snap Send Solve is not advertised or actively promoted, as the Shire of Murray has our own platform that captures all maintenance requests in a much more efficient way for our internal systems. Question two, if the answer is no, that staff are not required or encouraged to use the app, can the Shire explain why not, given that these employees are out in the community daily and often see issues such as graffiti, damaged infrastructure or safety concerns firsthand? So the answer for that one is the Shire of Murray have a comprehensive systems approach to managing maintenance items, and this system enables a higher level of detail and interaction with the community. This extends to all staff within the Shire to be proactive in identifying maintenance items. In particular, the maintenance and ranger teams are on the ground all day. Question three. Would the Shire consider implementing a policy or practice that encourages staff to use Snap Send Solve or a similar reporting mechanism as part of their day-to-day duties in order to improve the speed and efficiency of issue reporting and resolution? The answer: not the Snap Send Solve app specifically, but all staff are encouraged to report any maintenance items. Maintenance requests are then prioritised by the civil or parks teams. Ours in an integrated system that results in more effective and efficient data recording and migration across systems such as reports linked to GIS, licences, registrations, various applications, etc. Snap Send Solve cannot provide this level of integration due to it not being part of our mainframe operating system. There is also the issue of a third party having access and ownership of what may be private and confidential information, which is currently contained, stored and data backup and security on Shire systems, enabling the Shire to comply with all legislative privacy, records management and cybersecurity requirements. Question four. Are there any internal reporting systems currently used by outdoor staff for such issues, and how do they compare in effectiveness or response times to apps like Snap Send Solved? The City of Subiaco has successfully implemented the use of Snap, Send, Solve by staff for over a decade, resulting in faster resolution of local issues. Has the Shire of Murray reviewed or considered similar initiatives, and if not, would Council be willing to investigate and trial such an approach? The answer to this, there are two parts to this question. The first part is in relation to, are there any reporting systems currently used by outdoor staff? The answer to that is yes. The second part that relates to the effectiveness between the Shire's Report It system and the Snap, Send, Solve system, and the answer to that is the Shire's system is more efficient and leads to quicker response times. The Shire of Murray has invested in a comprehensive system that not only manages the maintenance requests but also provides a direct connection with the complainant. Any request received from Snap, Send, Solve must be entered into our system. Therefore, staff are encouraged to align maintenance requests through our internal system. Our website also has a link, Report It, to encourage residents to detail any maintenance or type of request. The Snap, Send, Solve is a third-party app that wasn't developed by local government, and while it may be right for Subiaco, the Shire of Murray has our own online reporting system that link directly into our database and record system. Our system is much more efficient for our staff, our Shire, and is safer, whereas the data received by Snap, Send, Solve is not ours, and all information has to be manually downloaded into our system. And there are occasions where we have found maps not clear. With the Shire's easy, friendly system, a job request is automatically created and thus a formal Shire record is created. These requests immediately alert staff to the request, and electronic reminders are sent to staff if they have not been actioned within acceptable timeframes. Further, the Shire will develop a communications and marketing plan to more effectively promote our established system. To conclude, the Report It platform the Shire uses is part of our wider Open Office corporate reporting management platform, and we encourage you and residents to use this very easy to find and easy to use system rather than staff being less efficient by double handling maintenance requests through using external Snap, Send, Solve system. So hopefully, if Mr Cashman is watching online, hopefully those answers are sufficient for him, and he will also be notified of those in writing. So, sir, if you have a question, you can now come up, state your name and address, and then please proceed with your question.
Yes, Jeff Warren. I'm from Dwellingup. It's a little town on the map there. The Murray Shire may not know it exists up in Dwellingup.
Oh, we know, sir. We know it's there.
Yeah, I live there, and I just want to know what's happening to the old museum history space that's up there at the moment. It's been vacant now for probably 3 years since the new building was built. I just want to know what's happening with that. Also, what's happened to all the history and the museum stuff from Dwellingup that the Shire removed from that building. I believe a lot of it's been thrown out, discarded, missing. I just met a guy in the street today. He lives in the old hospital up there. He donated a window and lots of documents, and that's all gone missing. And I want to know what's happening with the big log. I've heard rumours that the Shire want to move that log because they think it's dangerous where it is, near the road. It's been there since 1972. It's not been a problem. It's probably one of the very few logs that you'll find anywhere in Western Australia at the moment. I know Kings Park had a big carry. They lost that, and we don't want to lose this log up there. And the old whim as well. There's a whim up there that was actually falling apart. It was on Murray Shire land. Anyone could have got hurt by it. I mentioned it to a guy through the Development Association.
Mr Warren, this is question time.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yep.
We just need to be
just
mindful.
What's happening. And the other one, if the Shire does lease that building space up there, what sort of income are you expecting to get from that space? It should be retained back as a museum. And I've just got there. It's not a question, but the Shire should just man up and reinstate our history and museum. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Dore, would you like to have an answer to that, or would you like to take those questions on notice and
Can we please take those items on notice?
Mr. Warren, we haven't. We want to make sure that we give you a very comprehensive answer to that. So you will be notified of the answer, but we'll take those on notice and we'll let you know. Thank you very much for your question. No more questions from anyone in the gallery. I don't believe we have any petitions or approved deputations. So we'll move on to item 6.1, confirmation of the minutes, Ordinary Council meeting 23rd of April 2025. Do I have a mover for that item? Councillor Rogers, Councillor Kirkham to second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Is anyone likely to be opposed to accepting these minutes? If that being the case, we'll put that one to the vote. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7, announcements by the presiding member will be attached to the minutes. And item 8, announcements by elected members will also be attached to the minutes. Acknowledgement and receipt of disclosure of interests. There are none. Unless anybody has rethought that and decided that they have. No? Excellent. So we'll move on to item 10, reception of minutes and recommendations of committees held since the previous meeting of council. 10.1, Shire of Murray Local Emergency Management Arrangements and Subplans. We have the recommendation there. Do we have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Kirkham is moving. Councillor Lee is going to second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Would you like to speak, Councillor Kirkham? No. Anyone likely to be against? Oh,
no, I was
Councillor Lee, sorry.
only going to comment that there was a hell of a lot of documentation there.
It was.
And if everybody could read through all that, they'd be doing well.
Thank you. All right, if there's no one going to be opposed or liking to speak against it, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously. Item 10.2, Local Emergency Management Committee Terms of Reference. Do we have a mover and a seconder for that item? Councillor Willis is going to move it and Councillor Kirkham is going to second it. Would the mover like to speak on the item? No? Councillor Kirkham? Anyone liking to speak against it? No? If that being the case, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 10.3, endorsement of the Department of Communities Local Emergency Relief and Support Plan for the Binjarra region. We have the officer's recommendation, committee recommendation there. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Rogers, Councillor Black to second. Is anyone likely to be against this? Would you like to speak, Councillor Rogers or Councillor Black? No? All right, that being the case, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. So we move on to the reports of the Chief Executive Officer and officers. Item 11, Planning and Sustainability. 11.1, Revocation of the Exchange Hotel Local Planning Policy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lee to move, Councillor Black to second. Is anyone likely to be against this? No? Councillor Lee, would you like to speak?
Only just to ask a question. I mean, it makes sense. We have to do that. The exchange has been developed as to how we wanted, and so there's no need for this policy anymore. But my question would be of Greg. Can we now be assured that the Exchange Hotel site has now been excised off the other lots and that it's completely separate now to the other parts of those lots, so that those other lots are just wholly owned by the Shire?
Yes, subdivision approval was cleared and the lots were created this year.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Black, would you like to comment? Okay, if nobody is against the item, then we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 11.2, Woolworths Shopping Centre Significant Development Application, Lot 5001 Pinjarra Road, Lot 502 Rowe Avenue, and Lots 112 and 113 James Street, Pinjarra. We have a very comprehensive officer's recommendation there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Carter and Councillor Rogers to second. Is there going to be anybody against this recommendation? Councillor Pike. Councillor Carter, would you like to speak, please?
Yeah, although I'm in favour of having a new retail supermarket in Pinjarra, it's a shame that such a large company is wanting to push through a shop which is such a departure from the proposed local planning framework. And if the shop goes through in its current form, this is going to detract from the ambience of Pinjarra now and into the future. And there are other options available which would be much more suitable. I would also like to quickly thank Mr Delahunty and the planning team regarding the huge amount of work that has been spent on this item.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers, would you like to speak?
I would just like to start by saying that I'm very supportive of a new shopping centre being developed in Pinjarra. And to be completely honest, I'm not 100% against this being the particular location, but I am happy to support the officer's recommendation because there are a few concerns that I have that haven't been, I guess, addressed within this development application. One of the main ones being the traffic management. There's a complete lack of traffic management at the intersection of Pinjarra and Roy Avenue. They're predicting an extra 3,700 vehicle movements a day to go through that intersection, and to not have anything to manage that traffic is a disaster waiting to happen. I do know that the report also didn't include the morning traffic, and considering we have a school in a close proximity to that intersection, I just think that's a big red flag. I could not get past that. The development layout could have been more sympathetic to the adjoining land uses, and the overall built form could have complemented the rural character of Pinjarra in a better way. It's not that Woolworths don't know how to do this. They have done it before, and examples of that were given. I think especially in the Highgate shopping centre, we had images of that provided in the agenda, so they can do it. So it's a bit of a shame that I don't know what their reason was that they didn't choose to go down that road. And I think with a few things being, I don't know, a little bit of give and take taken from both sides, it could have actually been quite a good development outcome.
Thank you. Councillor Pike, you're speaking against?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, as my opinion from earlier when this was first proposed, that having a location like that for a new supermarket would ease congestion in town for traffic, and I'm sure that road management could be taken in consideration as a caveat to proceeding with the building. Also, I believe that if there's opportunity for growth and expanding Pinjarra more westward, then we should take those opportunities rather than sit back and say, well, it doesn't quite fit the mould or the build, when there's still opportunity to be on board, when we know that state legislation can override any decision that we make anyway. So rather than be strictly against it, it would be better to support it with ideas that we would like to implement and be on a more proactive approach, rather than just saying, no, well, we don't support it at all, and then fighting the government, which seems a bit counterproductive to me.
Thank you, Councillor Pike. Do I have any more speakers for the item? Councillor Willis?
Sorry.
You're for the officer's recommendation?
Yes. I'd just like to add that I feel the officers have included in the full document many options and ideas for if it does go ahead in that location, based on that it is going to be state approved or not a state approved, for how we could get a better fit for the community in that location. So although we are voting to not support it in its current form, we are not ruling out, nor are the officers ruling out, a Woolworths in town, nor entirely, if it needs to be at that location, then that location. But there, as Councillor Rogers said, there needs to be a little bit of give and take so we end up with a good fit for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Are there any other speakers against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Carter, would you like to sum up, please?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I agree with the vibe of. I'm totally for the information that's within this item. I do think that the officers have put in a lot of time and effort into trying to negotiate an outcome. But from what I've read so far is that the other party isn't willing to budge at this stage, even though they have tried significantly to do so. So, so I'm happy to proceed as is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, councillors, we'll put the item to the vote now, thanks. So all those in favour? All those against? Councillor Pike against. Item 12, corporate governance. 12.1, proposed 2025-2026 differential rates. We have the officer's recommendation there and the detail. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Lee will move it. Councillor Black is going to second. Is anyone likely to be against this? Councillor Lee, or do you have any comment?
Oh, nothing really to add, except, I mean, obviously we've discussed this at length as councillors, and yeah, it's as being presented, and I think will be pretty fair to all concerned.
Thank you. Councillor Black, have you got anything to add? No. Do any other councillors have any comments or questions before we put the item to the vote? Okay, we'll put it to the vote then. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. Item 12.2, Schedule of Fees and Charges 2025-2026. There was a fair amount of detail in that too. It always gets me every year how much is in that. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that item, please? Councillor Willis is going to move it. And who was seconding, sorry? Councillor Rogers. Anyone likely to be against this item? Does anyone have any comments or questions? Councillor Willis?
I'd just like to say that I thought it was really well thought out. There was only a small amount of increases, mainly at the milk, just a tiny bit, just covering the utilities and overheads. The electricity has gone up significantly. The majority remain the same, and there was one or two which went down quite a bit, which was great. Thank you to the officers who put in all their work.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Rogers? No? Any other comments or questions, councillors? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 12.3, change of date for the June Ordinary Council meeting. The officer's recommendation is there to move it from the 26th of June to the 19th of June, 1 week earlier. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Lee is going to move that. Councillor Carter is going to second. Is anyone against the officer's recommendation? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. (12.4) Monthly Financial Report for April 2025. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Rogers to move, Councillor Carter to second. Does anyone like to speak against this item at all? No? Any comments or questions? No, we'll put the item to the vote then. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. Item 12.5, Payment from Municipal and Trust Funds, April 2025. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that item, please? Councillor Rogers moving, Councillor Pike to second. Any comments or questions? No, we'll put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 14, Infrastructure Services. 14.1, Request for support of new road names for subdivision 200149, Stage 27, Austin Lakes. We have the officer's recommendation there. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Lee to move, Councillor Carter to second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Councillor Lee, would you like to? No? Okay, we'll put the item to the vote then. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 14.2, request for support of new road names for subdivision 200149 Austin Lakes. We have the officer's recommendation there. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Black is going to move. Councillor Rogers is going to second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Councillor Carter?
I have some reservations about this item.
Sorry, Councillor Carter, you likely to speak against, or have you got a question?
I'd like to speak against.
Okay, so we'll go with the mover, Councillor Black, if you'd like to speak on the item.
Now, I find the names are all in the same line as colouring through the thing as the motion before that was, and I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rogers, would you like? No? Okay, Councillor Carter.
So I do have some reservations about this item. One of the suggested names is Navajo, and within our policy, within the Shire of Murray, in the naming of localities and parks and roads, there's a thing that says about Aboriginal groups, and they have to have been consulted. And this is an Aboriginal group in North America, and I'm unsure if they have been consulted. I do realise that that is a name that's used quite prevalently. In fact, there is a Navajo road out in Carnup, but it's still something that came to mind when I was reading this item. The other thing is that I appreciate that the namings mostly relate to colours, but there are two of the items there that my first thought of is alcohol. One is chartreuse and the other one is sangria. And I know that some people wouldn't live on a street purely because they associate the name of the street with alcoholic beverages. I don't feel too strongly against this item, but that there are a couple of things that came to my mind.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Can I seek clarification from either you, Mr. Harrop, or Mr. Delahunty? Is there a reason why we couldn't use the Indigenous term? Do you know? No. Okay, that's fine. Do I have any other speakers for the item? No other speakers against? Councillor Black, would you like to sum up? Well, you've...
I guess going on what Councillor Carter said, yes, there's several names in there that could be a Persian for one, could be a different nationality, but I don't see the problem. We seem to have that sort of stuff all over the countryside.
Okay. All right, if there's no other speakers...
I was only going to comment and make the comment that, I mean, there are some strange names there and, you know, bittersweet. Yeah, you just wonder where they come from. I mean, I'm not against any of them, but I just don't think they're very good sounding names. They could have come up with something better.
Okay, councillors, well, we'll put this to the vote then. We've had speakers for, we've had speakers against. So we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? That is Kirkham, McClarty, Black and Rogers for. Those against? Pike, Lee, Willis and Carter. Wow. That means that I have to give a casting vote, and my considered position would be that since there is some concern with some of those names that may cause cultural discomfort, that we might return it to the applicant and see if they can possibly come up with some better names. So I'll put the casting vote against. Is everyone happy with that? Yep, great. No, I'm just with the process. Yep. Item 14.3, T2506, tender selection criteria, supply of gravel-based coarse material. We have the recommendation there, councillors. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Carter to move. Councillor Willis is going to second. Do any have any comments or questions? Councillor Carter, would you like to speak to it? No? Okay, we'll put the item to the vote then. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 14.4, T2508, tender selection criteria, McClarty Sports Pavilion change room extension. The recommendation is there. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Willis to move, Councillor Lee to second. Any comments or questions? No. Councillor Willis, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Lee? No. Okay. We'll put that item to the vote then. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 14.5, T2509, tender selection criteria, supply of limestone. We have the recommendation there. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Kirkham to move, Councillor Rogers to second. Any comments or questions at all? If not, put the item to the vote. All those in favour? It's passed unanimously. Item 15. Item 15, items for information. 15.1, delegated development application decisions, April 2025. They'll be attached for information. 15.2, outstanding council resolutions for May 2025 will also be attached for information. Item 16, business left over from a previous meeting is nil. 17, elected members' motions of which previous notice has been given is nil. 18, notice of motions for consideration at the following meeting. Councillors, is there any notice of motions to be considered?
I'll be putting in one for leave absence from the 15th of July to the 29th of July.
Okay.
Meaning I'll be absent for the July ordinary council meeting.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that? Now? Yep. So, councillors, can I have a mover and a seconder to please accept Councillor Lee's leave? Councillor Kirkham, Councillor Willis. Is anyone likely to be against that? If not, we'll put the item to the vote. Thank you. All those in favour? That's passed unanimously. (19) New business of an urgent nature approved by the presiding person or by decision of the meeting. I believe that to be nil. We have no confidential items tonight. So that brings us to 21, closure of the meeting. So at 6:03, we'll close the meeting. Thank you very much.